Hello and welcome to the Cold Coffee Club, a podcast brought to you by Houston Moms. We're here to give you a little bit of that mom-to-mom connection, fun, and conversation amidst all the chaos. Join us as we take a break from doing all the things and explore the wide spectrum of this crazy motherhood role. We'll interview fun guests, talk about cool grown-up topics, laugh, share, and grow together. So go ahead, reheat that coffee, and put your feet up. Here we go.
All right, welcome to another episode of the Cold Coffee Club. Ashley here, and we have Tiffany as my co-host today. She, Bree Griff couldn't make it today, which is fine. I promise we will have three co-hosts together at one point. Yeah, just not yet. We're building up the anticipation. You're welcome. Exactly. All right. Well, today we're going to be talking about building our mom tribe. It is so important to have that circle of people who you can confide in, who can relate to you. And also, they don't necessarily have to be moms. Just having that group of people who are here for you as you're raising your children, who are here for your children to provide some kind of influence, any kind of positive impact they can have on your family. It's so needed. So we're going to dig into building our villages. But before we do, let's spill some tea. Tiffany, what is your win and your fail for this week?
So because we're just coming out of Mother's Day as we are recording, I'm going to make the win and the fail all about me.
Good. Yes.
Nothing about the kids. So the win is that I did take care of myself for Mother's Day weekend. I got my hair washed. I got it twisted.
It looks fabulous, girl. It looks so good.
Thank you. Because I usually just wash it myself and I twist it, I do actually have a great hairstylist that comes and does both of our hair because my daughter's hair is ginormous, and so I am not a beautician, but I can do my own. But it was good just to have somebody else scrub my scalp and twist it and everything else like that. And then even on Sunday, I took a nice long nap. You take those naps, and you are just like you don't even want to wake up.
Yes.
My husband was like, "We gotta go." I was like, "Do we? When is the reservation?"
See, that's when you get to veto the plans because it's Mother's Day and your mom. You'd be like, "No, I'm not going. I'm taking it now."
Yeah. No, he did it really, and shout out to my husband. He did a great job. I did wake up, but I just was confused on the time of the reservation, so I made it a little late. It was fine, but I had the best nap ever.
Good.
So Mother's Day was great. My fail though, so I am, and I'm going to show you guys so in case it does show up in the screen, you're like, what is that? So I have really bad eczema.
Oh,
no. It is terrorizing my hands and my feet. It is something called dyshydrotic eczema. And I have I've seen a couple of dermatologists, and they've been somewhat helpful. And I've been trying to avoid this, this shot that they want me to get because it's you have to keep getting it. So the fail is that it's and as moms we just kind of take it on. So okay, so what do I need to manage this? I'll wear socks, I'll wear gloves.
Yeah.
And so I'm at my daughter's allergist, new appointment. My son has allergies, going to the same doctor. I love her. And she walks in and she's like, "Oh my gosh, your eczema must be really bad."
Oh no.
So she is instantaneously picking it up. And so she was just like, "Yeah, you got to get the shot." She's like, "If it's this bad, she's like, you are miserable."
Yeah.
And you know how somebody speaks to you and you're like, "I am miserable." But you're just trying to manage,
push
and
through it,
cope and try to figure something else out.
Yeah.
And she was like, "No," she's like, "The shot is good. You don't have to worry about it." And I don't have, the dermatologists were okay, but they just didn't explain it to me that way.
Right.
And so when you finally get a doctor that's just this is your course of action.
Yeah.
Right. And so I just felt kind of I didn't feel bad, but it was one of those moments where I recognized again that I was trying to solution myself out of feeling bad.
Sure.
And she was like, "If you are wearing gloves, you don't feel good."
Yeah.
And so I finally had to come to that acceptance, and I was like, yeah, I don't feel good. Like this is not sustainable. Wearing gloves in front of people is not.
Yeah.
So I did. So like as moms, this is like my plea to myself, because whatever it is, but I instantaneously like made the appointment. I was like, okay, I gotta fix myself.
Yeah.
And so we're always trying to like compensate. We don't even do that with our kids, right? We just don't.
Right.
We don't say, oh, let's try this or let's try that. Oh, the doctor says you need this. We're gonna do that. Like I was doing X, Y, and Z and looking up recipes and all these different kinds of concoctions to get myself around it. And she was like, no. And then I even talked to a coworker. So I just started my new job this week. And so one of the coworkers, she was even like really supportive. She's like, yep, I had highs. It was this, the shots work. And I just was like, okay, Tiffany, like get it together, girl.
Yeah. It's amazing the things we put ourselves through. And it's amazing how just that little bit of validation from your doctor, like, this is not good for you. Like we try to rationalize it, like I can fight through it, it's fine. I don't have needs. Like, yeah, you do. Please take care of you.
Yes. I'm like putting lotion all on my hands, like it'll get better. It's not getting better.
Oh, moms. Oh, we've got to stop doing this to ourselves.
I know better. I write about this stuff. I talk about this stuff. I tell other people about it. And here I am.
And here you are.
The doctor just looked at me. She's like, yeah, you're bad. You don't feel good.
Yeah. Oh,
gosh. She's like, your doctor hasn't talked to you about the shot. I was like, she has. She was like, okay, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're... Oh, God.
No, I was going to say, and mind you, she's the pediatric. Like, why?
I'm learning that pediatric doctors are way more like, they're going to give you the breakdown. They're going to try to soothe you and make you feel better. Like my kids go to a pediatric dentist and I'm like, can you just be my dentist? Because I love how you do it. Like I love that you're going to walk me through it and like make sure I'm okay. And like, do you need anything? The grown-up doctors don't do that. They're just like, girl, sit down.
Yeah, that's what the dermatologist was doing. They're just like, it's the shot. You give it every 2 weeks. And I was like, what else? Like, like your bedside manner is not, it's not acceptable.
No, but pediatric doctors, they will handhold you the whole way. And I'm like, I will pay extra. Can you be my doctor? I love how you're doing things. You made me feel better just with your words. Thank you.
Yes. That was me yesterday. That was me. And I called my husband. I was like, I'm going to make the appointment. I got to get the shots. Yeah. He was like, really? I was like, I like her better.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my gosh. I love it. Well, I'm so glad you're going to get the help you need and stop suffering, because that is awful. I can't even.
It is.
I've had eczema. My kids have had eczema. It doesn't sound as bad as yours. Like, oh my gosh, that sounds terrible. Exhausting. It sounds so draining.
Yeah. And I wear the gloves because of the cracking, which you can't stop.
Yep.
And so you can get infections in your body. So I'm like wearing socks and now I'm wearing gloves. Yeah. I was like, you feel terrible. Why? What are you doing to yourself?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're going to get the help you need because yeah. Well, my win this week is that my boys are being so helpful lately and I am here for it. My youngest he helped me clean my car. Like I was kind of complaining. I was upset because my car is just getting so dirty. And between just kids in and out of the car and going to we've had one beach day so far and there's sand. I thought I got it all. There's sand everywhere. It's just, and I was like, how do I start budgeting for maybe there are certain things that I want done throughout the year where I'm like, okay, I can't justify doing this all the time. Like having a cleaning person come over. I can't in my mind justify having that every month or whatever. But I'm like, okay, I want to do this twice a year. I want to have my car detailed twice a year just for my own sanity and peace of mind. But yesterday I tried to get like a quote for detailing my van and they said $300. And I was like, yeah, about that. Like, not right now. I don't want to spend $300 on that right now. So I buckled down and I like wanted my car clean. My youngest volunteered to help and he was so enthusiastic about it. Like, it made me so happy seeing how happy he was to help. Like, that is like the motherhood thing that I have been striving for. Like, be a happy helper, want to help other people. And so he helped me with the car. My older two helped me last week with cooking. And I have mentioned on this podcast several times, I don't enjoy cooking with my children. I don't. It takes up time. But I've tried to force myself on weekends. Let them help. We are not on a schedule. Let them help. And so they have been willingly helping. Like, can I stir this for you? Can I chop this for you? Right. I am loving this helper vibe that I'm getting from them because these people are not helpers by nature. I have learned this. They don't want to help. They're like, why can't you? Like, why can't you?
There must be something in the universe because my son is really on that tip.
Yeah.
To the point where he like shamed my daughter. And so she did the same thing the other night. She folded all their clothes and put them up.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I think
there's something like, is there a full moon this week? I don't know what's going on.
Okay. Well, whatever's happening, please stay for a while, please. I love it. It has made me so happy. And it's just been a joy watching them want to be helpful. So that is definitely my win right now. My fail is we did an episode. You were part of that episode where we talked about word of the year. And I said that my word was pause. I realized that I need to stop being so reactionary, take a beat, assess the situation. I'd been doing really well for a while, but there were a couple times last week where my kids were just being heathens and I forgot to pause. And I had been working really hard at it and I snapped at them. I reacted without even trying to like, okay, wait, what's happening? What are we doing? Why are you yelling? Like, what is this? I snapped and it hurt my heart because I feel like they'd got used to me trying to pause and really trying to like figure things out. And when I snapped, they're like, well, dang, what was that? I'm like, okay, hold on. I was like, and I did have to apologize. I am not above apologizing to my children when I'm not doing the right thing. So I did apologize and, there was no reason for me to be that level of angry, but I was also overwhelmed. I'm like, there's too many noises. I saw out of the corner of my eye something being thrown in my house, which is a no-no. So I was like, y'all can't even really be mad at me for like getting mad. What did you expect? But reminder, I'm the grown-up, so I need to take a minute to pause. So, it was a small fail and I should have taken that moment to pause, but all good. I did apologize and moving forward.
It's always the apology for me. It's always the apology. I find they will almost forgive everything as long as you come back and say, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Like, if you acknowledge that you made a mistake, it seems like it resonates with most kids. Like, oh, wow. Okay. Mom sees that she messed up and she's letting us know that she's sorry for doing that. So clearly she cares about our feelings. And then it's just like, oh, great. Like everyone's fine. Big fan of apologies over here.
I am too.
But also, I remind my children the best apology is changed behavior. So I say that to them all the time because they'll apologize for something. I'm sorry I slapped you, Reeve, and then slap him 10 minutes later. And I'm like, so your apology about that. Yeah. Kids are fun.
I'm going to remember that one too. The best apology is changed behavior.
Amen. I love it.
Yes.
All right, let's jump into our cream and sugar this week. What are you loving in the Houston area or just in general?
So what I'm loving, we went to, so again, we're a big concerts people, my husband and I. So we went down to the Smartland music theater place for Mother's Day. He took me to a concert there. And I am still like, it's starting to move into that summertime,
Mhm.
and I am loving just the accessibility of Houston. Its music scene, its
Mhm.
comedy scene. We've gone out to the improv. Like I so treasure this place for that.
Mhm.
Like all the artists come through here. I don't see everybody, but you have the Toyota Center, you have an NRG, you have Cynthia Woods up in the Woodlands. Like
Mhm.
it is just like if you like I went to see oh, I can't remember the artist, but I went to see someone last year at
Mhm.
Minute Maid, which was the very first time I had been to the Minute Maid Stadium to see a
Yeah.
concert or even period. So it is just like it just warms my heart that you can
Mhm.
like 20 minutes
Yeah.
and you can be or less. Like we were at the House of Blues to see Roy Wood Jr. a couple of weeks
Oh,
ago.
fun.
So yeah, if you like entertainment, and then there's all these other smaller pockets, right? You have
Mhm.
like Hits Theater, you have Main Street Theater, you have like all these other places
Mhm.
that you can go to with your kids, just adults, to see good entertainment
Yeah.
around Houston. So that's what
Yeah.
I'm really loving.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. Houston is like the mecca of good food and great entertainment, and I love that. I take all my money.
Yes, and a lot of these artists, not that I've seen them out and about, are like moving here. You know, like
Yeah.
Gary Owen is living here now.
Oh wow.
Oh, Carl Thomas. We were when he was one of the artists on Sunday. He said he's
Mhm.
here now. So I'm like,
Wow.
oh, like, but now I'm back to a couple of episodes ago. Like, does that mean I have to dress up now? I'm sure I don't look not like a mom. No,
You don't have to change anything. Go out
I don't
however
have to
you
change.
want to.
I am going to have to.
Yep. That's awesome. So
Yeah.
my cream and sugar this week is third gen coffee. Here, it's up on the north side. It's in the Woodlands. So it's located off of Sawdust and like Grogan's Mill on the edge of Spring in the Woodlands. And I actually went there this morning, and I love finding cute little coffee shops that I can go work at if I want to. This is a cute little place. Like there's a downstairs which has limited seating, but that's where you get your coffee and everything. And then there's this cute upstairs, lots of seating and the perfect environment to get some work done during the day. And I got to try their cane break latte, which was perfection. It's like, I don't know what's all in it. It's espresso and sugar and I think cinnamon. Delicious. It was so good. I don't even know what's in it. I just drank it and I was happy. And then I got to try their sausage roll, which is like just like a breakfast sausage wrapped in this like flaky pastry. And it's served with like a spicy mustard. And it was so good. Like I don't typically eat breakfast. I'm rarely hungry in the morning. But today I woke up hungry and I was like, this is perfect. It was so good and just a fun environment. And I can't wait to go back. So if you're ever in the Spring Woodlands area, check out Third Gen Coffee, delicious coffee. And I think their name comes from like they are a 3-generation coffee grower, roaster, all that. So that's why they're called Third Gen. But yeah, I loved it. It was a lovely environment and great coffee. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love a good coffee place.
Me too. I will go to a Starbucks from time to time, but I get tired of, Starbucks in general. I just kind of get tired of it. So fun, cute, local coffee shops are my jam.
Great.
So speaking of jams, we are going to roll into our Java jam. And Tiffany, share with us what you're listening to these days that you either can't get out of your head or you can't stop listening to. Because mine, I cannot get off this channel. So you go first.
Sure. Back to the concert we went to. Keri Hilson was also part of the lineup.
Ooh.
And so her last song, of course, is Pretty Girls Rock.
Mm-hmm.
And I like she came into the audience, and it's one of my like favorite tunes, like one of my favorite songs.
Such a good song.
Because it's such just a fun song, and it's just so upbeat, and it's just so. Yeah, so like she did a really great job. So I've been kind of like hearing that song in my head for the last few days.
That's a great song. That is that takes me back. It takes me back to like college years and just being like getting dressed to go out and like that song came on. You're like, yes.
Yes.
It is the best. Great vibes.
Yeah.
So my Java Jam this week, I love when Spotify creates like a radio station based on a song that you like. So I had the song Your Love by the Outfield stuck in my head randomly. So I was like, I love that song. It's just such like a catchy 80s song. And I feel like you really get a vibe for the 80s just by listening to that song. And so I went to, you can click go to radio and it'll kind of make a collection of songs that are similar that they think you'll like. And so I went to the radio for the Outfield, Your Love, and I have been stuck on this station all like the last week or so. They'll play stuff from like Hall & Oates and Earth, Wind & Fire and Tears for Fears and Michael Jackson. I have just been like jamming, and my kids have actually appreciated it. Like at first they're like, we want to listen to songs that are on Fortnite. And I'm like, those songs are garbage. Okay, I don't say all that, and I'll let them listen to it here and there. But I'm like, but really? Fortnite music, like, it's the worst. It's the worst. And so I started playing that radio, and I see them kind of like tapping along to stuff, or they'll be walking through the house just kind of humming along, and I'm like, good. And then every now and then someone will say, what is this song? And I'm like, yes, it's working.
Yes, it's working.
Or I hear them in another room and they'll be explaining, like my oldest was explaining to my youngest who Michael Jackson is. And he's like, yeah, he's amazing. He's this, and this. And then like my oldest has to get real with my youngest. He's like, yeah, but he died. I'm like, you didn't need to say all that. That was not necessary for the conversation, but okay, thank you for letting him know.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Just the things I overhear them say. But all that matters is that they're listening to good music, and I love that. Yes.
And they're enjoying it. That's really important. Yeah.
Yes. All right, let's go ahead and jump into our topic for today, building our mom tribe, building our village. So I think a lot of moms don't realize, especially new moms, don't realize how important it is to have people in your corner. And that can look like so many different things. That can be your OB. That could be one of your best friends. That could be, a mom group. That could be friends who don't have kids who can help remind you who you were before you had kids. Because listen, I've needed my village to like tap into who is Ashley outside of mom? Who is Ashley outside of all these responsibilities? So those friends who knew me long before kids, those are so important for my village. So tell me a little bit about like who is in your village, who you consider in your village.
Yeah, so I live in Houston. We've been in Houston for a long time, but essentially we don't have like family here. Not any family that I would say could help with the kids. So we've really had to organically grow it. Now, fortunately, what happened when I got pregnant with my twins is that we had another friend who was also trying to get pregnant, and they went through IVF, and so and we were going through it at the exact same time. And so when I saw her and I told her, she kind of on the sly said that she had just gone through her last implantation, and she said, well, I'm still, like, she said, she made some sort of reference like they were like it was taking. And so we ended up delivering like 3 days apart, and she ended up having twins as well.
Wow.
So I kind of ended up with a twin pregnant friend just by definition, because we ended up with the same doctor, we delivered at the same hospital.
Wow.
So we were definitely comparing notes the entire time. Like there's a picture with the two of us. She came to the baby shower. She's not from Houston, so she went to her hometown, I think in North Carolina, for her baby shower. But she came, so like there's a picture of us both with these big bellies at my baby shower. So it was super cute. And then we kind of like did the same thing. We both got nannies. We joined this group called the Bel Air Moms of Multiples. So there's like a Moms of Multiples group. So we joined that at the same time. And that was helpful. They had like this excuse me, like garage sale. So we were able to like attend that and figure out the things that we needed, because I just like, I wanted twins, like I said years ago, and I kept saying it, but like it actually, when that stuff hits, you're like, oh,
it's for real.
Oh, it's for real. Like two of everything. And I hadn't been around babies in a long time, so I didn't know what was out there. And it was just a lot. So and so then my tribe expanded to our nanny. So we had some really great nannies. Excuse me, but we have now like 3 or 4 that are like family now. So we have one, and these women just are just like the dearest thing to my heart. They almost feel like little sisters to me. Like as they get older, I'm like, why are you getting older? Like, because I met them in their 20s, like young 20s. It's just so crazy. Like one is graduating with her PhD.
Oh, wow.
Another is married, about to have a baby. It's just like the other. I'm like, oh, you're like a full grown woman now. Like I'm so like, so they don't really watch the kids as much anymore, but they are definitely there. They're part of the village. I couldn't have done this with, like, when I say I would have been at best an adequate mom without them. That is the truth. And then this is an adequate mom wanting to be the best, because they were just there. They just stood in places that I did not have the bandwidth to stand in and do the things that I just didn't have the ability to do with the other things on my plate. So like complete shout outs to them.
It's so necessary to have those people around you who can help fill those gaps, and and be understanding that there are gaps, because there are some other moms or just people that you might want to invite into your village that are like, why aren't you doing all the things? It's like, I need you to be understanding that I'm doing my best. I am doing my absolute best. When my oldest was a baby, we were a big Gymboree family. We went to all the little Gymboree classes and made, like, those were my mom friends. Those were my village for a while. And this was back when we lived in Oklahoma, but we would, host play dates, which was fine. But also, like, I enjoyed even more where it wasn't even like a play date per se, but it was like, y'all want to just like sit by each other and just like, we don't even have to talk about anything. We can be at the park, let the kids play, and we can just sit. Like that was really all I needed at a certain point in motherhood. It was just like, I just need to be still. Do you want to be still together? Let's do that. So there was that. And, Houston Moms has been a great way to build my village. Thankfully, I've met moms like you where it's like, I can let y'all know what's going on with me. And like, do you have any advice, or what do you think about this? Or do you know a doctor? Do you know a dermatologist, a pediatric dermatologist I can talk to?
Yes.
Just things like that. Just having people who are willing to share resources, who are willing to help each other out. Like that's the thing too, is especially becoming now a single mom, having those friends who are like, hey, I'll help you out. You don't have to pay me. You don't have to whatever. Like if you need a babysitter for, you've got an event for work or something, cool, I've got you. And then like, I'll return the favor when you need something. And it's like, it is so helpful I don't have family here either. And so having people, friends who are like family, game changer. And it's so helpful. And, and thankfully we live in an era where Facebook exists. And so you have some of those friends, those people in your village who you might not have ever met in person, but it's like, but I like her. She's my kind of people. There is a Facebook group that I belong to called World's Okayest Mom. And people will share things like, y'all, I forgot to pack a lunch today, or for my kid, or y'all, he had a project and came to me and was like the day before, like, Mom, I need your help. And I lost it. And, I'm doing my best, but come on. And so it's very real. It's very like, hey, we are not perfect. We all have our days. And we're going to support each other through this. And I love that energy. And I desperately need that in my village. Like, are y'all messing up too? Because I am. And it's like great energy. It's like, we're all trying to do better. But like, yep, I messed up. So,
that's what I loved about them. That's what I mean, it's one thing to like stand in the gap and then be judgmental about it.
Mm-hmm.
But they would stand in the gap to stand in the gap. Like they kind of understood that that's where they were needed, and that's where they play. We have a babysitter that came twice a week or more in some cases, and she literally just taught our kids the ABCs, how to write, all of it.
Yeah.
And she's not a teacher, and she never would become the nanny, but her job was the babysitter, and she would come in and we would leave. We didn't give her any advice. She didn't give us, she would tell us, this is what they were doing, but that's what she did. And that's what she was committed to. Yeah. And when I met her mom, I was like, your daughter is the most amazing woman I've ever met. Yeah. Period. And it was just, and she just did it out of generosity. You know, that's one of the things I think sometimes, we had a nanny that was just not generous with her, with where she saw, and again, we were first year with twins. We failed, admittedly. But there was no generosity in her seeing us failing and then just stepping in to do the thing that she was there to do. Yeah. But everyone else, it was just hey, we had a babysitter that was she called me while I was out, and she was like, yeah, I think your daughter is lactose intolerant. And then I was able to be no. So then you start putting the pieces together. You're oh, this happened. Oh, so that's what that equals, right? Because as a mom, you see those 3 things, but you see 10 other things that may have nothing to do with this. So you're she just is getting sick. But she was only looking at the 3 things that she saw, and she was able to put 1 + 1 + 1 together to be 3. And that's what it was. I mean, so I've had a number of people, a number of the babysitters, nannies, who put those pieces together so that I could actually then figure out what to do. Yeah. So it wasn't a failing on our part. It was just that we had too many other things going on to be able to put it all together. So it's been. So that's why I say at best I would be adequate, and then even in my effort to be great, because it's just too much more. It's just too much more going on.
Right. Yep. And I think it's also important to, like I mentioned, having those friends who knew you before being a mom. I think it's important to have part of your village be people who are here to just support you specifically. They aren't really necessarily involved with the kids so much. My best friends from back home, they don't have kids. And when they come visit, because I have 1 week on, 1 week off with the kids, they'll plan their visit to be a couple days with the kids and then a couple days after the kids leave. So they're let's check in with you. What are you up to? How are you by yourself? And so it's really, really nice to have that balance of hey, you knew me before I was a mom. You are willing to hang out with me, not as a mom specifically, but as just a person. Let's go do stuff that we like that doesn't involve the kids. And that is so needed in my village, at least, to have those people who are you want to go out tonight, want to drink too much and just laugh about nothing and play board games or whatever. And I'm yes, I do actually. Yes. And they'll send boxes of stuff for the kids, and that's great too. But then also they are very intentional about tapping into who I am as a person. And I love having that in my village, and, extending your village to not just, those people who are involved with your kids. And even my therapist is part of my village. I consider my therapist part of my village. And I'm yep. Thank you for everything you do for me. Yes. Your pediatrician, your midwife can easily be part of your village for sure. I was trying to think, do I have any random people that I consider part of my village, that aren't just kind of off the wall? Oh yeah. I mean, even the lady who delivers our mail, she is kind of part of my village. The conversations she and I have, anytime I'm outside and she's delivering the mail, we'll sit and talk and just check in. And I love giving, my mail carrier a gift during Christmas. I'll send her, I'll give her a gift card and one of my Christmas cards, all that. And just the conversations we have, I'm yep, you're one of my people too.
You know who's that for us is our cleaning lady. So we had a person who's come in. She has been with us now almost 8 years. The very first time she came was the week before I delivered.
Wow.
And so she initially started coming with her daughter but her daughter went and found a job because she had just graduated from college.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she was just talking about that. She was just here last week, and I think it's just like even hitting us. She's like, she's the only person, I think, other than my husband and maybe one or two other people, but she's been in our lives every 2 weeks, more or less, for almost 8 years. So she literally has seen them from babies, like before babies even, to now. So she is just like amazed. She's just like, I can't believe it, and I can't either, because like when I think of it in that perspective, I'm like, wow, the time has just gone by so fast. I would have never imagined she would still be here 8 years later. But she's just always done that great of a job. When I tell you, in the beginning, when they both came home, I would just be asleep. I would just be like laid out on the couch. They'd be cleaning around me. I didn't even know what was going on.
Yeah.
I think one time my daughter woke up and I was dead asleep. So they took her off of me and put her in the bassinet. It was just like they had so much empathy and care for me in those early months with me with the kids. Yeah. It was amazing.
Yeah. Those are just solid reminders. First of all, like how lucky that you have someone else who's like walking alongside you and your children.
Yes.
Like that's amazing. That's not everyone has that. And then it's also a great reminder that we are not meant to do this motherhood journey alone. We are not meant to do it alone. It's almost impossible. Like, I mean, I guess some people might do it and it pans out well. It's impossible for me. I know I couldn't do it completely alone. There's no possible way. So and you know, the added value is that your kids get to interact with so many different kinds of people. Like, I think that's important for me, at least, building my village, is that I want different perspectives, different backgrounds, different upbringings. I want all those people to come together as my village and like have some influence on my children. And I think that's so necessary. I think they need to see things from someone else's perspective. I think they need to experience someone else's, you know, that's why I think going to school or being part of activities, those kinds of things, like take directions from somebody else, not just me, because you need to experience what different people are like. And maybe in some ways they'll appreciate it. Like, well, at least mom doesn't do it how Miss So-and-so does it. I'm like, take notes of that. Or they'll notice like, I love how Mr. So-and-so helps with this. And he's so nice to us. He gives us this, whatever. He's fun. I'm like, just experience all different kinds of people, because I think it's important for them to learn and grow and understand the world around them. So I like having a very good mix in my village.
I'm even finding, like, now that the kids are in school, you know, the moms are now part of that village. Like my daughter has a really good friend, and I've become really friends with her mom. And it is like, as I'm hearing her, it's back to the comparing notes thing. Like, oh, your daughter's doing that. Yeah, mine's is too. And we're having these kind of like symbiotic experiences with our kids as they're growing up. And it's so comforting because, you know, like you said, so not only is not being a mom not supposed to be an individual sport, it can be very isolating if you do, and you kind of get in your head, like, my kid is the only one doing X, Y, or Z. And when you talk to another mom friend or another person who has had kids, you're like, oh, okay, so this is normal. Got it. Okay. And so you feel very like less alone, less like away from the whole experience. Like it's just you going through it. So it's isolating. It's a less isolating experience. So and like I said, twins, because you just can't.
You can't.
The stroller itself. People would be like, you know, or you walk into a restaurant and they see two babies and they're just like, oh my God, this is my first experience. And so you just, like, you're used to those experiences. And so you have to really it's really great to have people and find places where it's welcome.
Well, the fact that we're talking about villages is perfect for sharing our interview with our guest this week, Gabriela Gerhart. She is the founder of the Motherhood Center, and she's going to chat about everything the Motherhood Center does and how they help you build your village. So we're going to jump right into that interview here. Okay, Cold Coffee Club. Today we have our guest is Gabriela Gerhart, and she is with the Motherhood Center. She's going to share with us about what the Motherhood Center is and what services they provide to the Houston moms community. So, Gabriela, I'll turn it over to you. You can tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll dig into the Motherhood Center.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me. And so I'm the founder of the Motherhood Center, and I founded Motherhood Center 24 years ago, which is hard to believe. But my journey kind of started, about 26 years ago now. So my background is I'm a pediatric nurse and a physical therapist, and I got my degrees in the Czech Republic, and I decided to come to America to learn English and spend a year here. And of course, the 1 year turned into a little bit more than that. And so I came here as an au pair, and I was working with this family. They had 10-day-old, 5, 7, and 9-year-old. And so I was kind of the mommy during the daytime. And so in some ways I was kind of exposed to the American lifestyle and maybe not having that support system, because I was essentially the support system for the family. And so when my husband to be proposed, I kind of realized that my journey is going to change quite a bit. And so pretty soon after my au pair year ended, I started working as a postpartum doula or baby nurse. At that point, the postpartum doula or newborn care specialist was not really a terminology used yet. And so I essentially started working with expecting and new parents, and basically working in their homes, helping them understand the baby's needs, and primarily kind of overnight, but daytimes as well. And, everything from coaching moms on breastfeeding to helping them understand baby's needs. And so the terminology they were using was the baby nurse. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going to be a baby nurse. And so essentially one job led to another. And so I started agency. So the original name was Loving Infant Care. And I realized that there is so much more need. And so that's kind of how the Motherhood Center was created, basically kind of creating a support system. So kind of bringing my hometown and my upbringings basically to America, to US.
That's amazing. Awesome. Thank you so much. I love that. And so if for anyone who doesn't know about the Motherhood Center, what services do you provide? What do you do? And why are you so important to the Houston community?
Sure. So it's not my name for the Motherhood Center, but one of our clients referred to us as a mommy country club. So essentially, all of the needs new and expecting parents might have. And so Motherhood Center has everything from childcare services like the newborn care specialist, postpartum doulas, nannies, babysitting services, family assistance. So it can be kind of on as needed basis or long term. We have a wellness program. So we have yoga, we have massages, we have infant massage classes, we have all the educational classes. Expecting and new parents might need. So everything from childbirth, breastfeeding, CPR, newborn care, even grandparents refresher classes, which are very popular. We have Moms Talk. So it's basically a support group for moms. Tomorrow, actually, we are launching a Dad's group. So we are very excited about that. So we will have dads having their own club here within the Motherhood Center. And of course, breastfeeding support, which is a big part of our offering. So we have lactation consultants, we have breast pump rental, scale rental. We have a kind of a storefront boutique. So if anybody is looking for baby shower gifts or, any necessity items. So we are kind of a one-stop shop for expecting and new parents. And we do a lot of all kinds of referrals out as well.
Oh, wow.
and I do just one more thing. I do maternity consultations. And so that is a lot of times when, especially when we have clients which are new to Houston, and they have no idea kind of where to even start, or even clients which might have been, native Houstonians, like, okay, I'm expecting now, I have no idea what to do. So kind of helping them create kind of a roadmap.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh. Like now I'm really sad that I didn't know about the Motherhood Center while I was still having children, because I had no idea what was happening. And I lived here in Houston. My oldest is going to be 12, and I had never heard about the Motherhood Center. And I lived here pregnant and like confused. And I would have really benefited from knowing about you. So I'm so thankful that you are on this episode for those moms or those parents, those families who don't know what to expect, who need, people around them to build that village. I absolutely love this. I'm so glad you are here with us. And it sounds like you've created an environment that is very much a village for parents. So can you tell me kind of how you support families building that village together? How, it sounds like you have lots of groups and whatnot. Do y'all have events or things where parents can get together?
Sure. So a lot of it is kind of the support can be basically created even from within, like clients attending a childbirth class or mom and baby yoga. We also what we call baby bump social. So it's a monthly gathering of expecting parents. And so often we hear, I just moved here from London and I don't know anybody. And all of a sudden they are leaving with phone numbers and kind of an instant connection. And so there's just so many stories where, so I started the Motherhood Center 24 years ago. And so even clients which were in our mom and baby yoga back, 18 years ago, they are still close friends with the moms from those groups. And, kids go to the same school and they go on vacations together. So it's really just clients by attending the Motherhood Center, we become kind of the extension of their village. Some clients refer to as we are their home away from home. And so it's really any client which kind of engages with us, we kind of feel and kind of treat our clients as an extension of our Motherhood Center family. And hopefully they feel the same way. But yeah, so just kind of recreating the village, because as you kind of mentioned, 12 years ago, of course, there was not even like the Facebook groups and all these mommy groups. That was still not kind of around. And of course, 24 years ago, there was absolutely nothing like that.
Right.
So definitely kind of being able to create all these different classes and services for our clients, so they feel like they have a kind of a home base here.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Tiffany, you mentioned before we started recording that you had been to an event or something with the Motherhood Center. Tell us about that.
Yes. I think the way I initially got to the Motherhood Center is the breast pump rental. And so thereafter, for the following, maybe it was the first year, I went to your Halloween event with the kids.
Oh, yeah.
In October. So yeah, that was a lot. That was fun. And I had twins, so there's not many places. I think in the time I felt like there weren't many places where I could easily bring twins there, but there were people there that helped me, and so it was like it was a really nice time, because I just didn't feel so odd being this mom with like two babies, two everything, carrying it around. And people were really helpful. So yeah, I think I know for sure I definitely did a breast pump, one of the big Medela ones, because I had to have the super powered one. And
I call it the super duper. Yeah.
The super duper one. Yes. And so it just like it was you and one other place that had them, and so I was like pinging from both places. Like, how long can I have it? So yeah. It was. It was at the very beginning when it was like all hands on deck trying to figure this out. Because breast pumping wasn't on my like radar of things that I would be doing. So I had to like learn super fast and find resources that could help me. So you guys were definitely welcome.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us. And and on that, I lead the Mom's Talk, and so often the first outing clients have outside of like maybe going to pediatrician is really kind of coming to the Motherhood Center, because they know if baby is going to be, pooping, crying, whatever is going on, they are not going to be judged, and they can still kind of come in and kind of settle in, and we even have a scale so they can weigh the baby, or just really kind of being surrounded in very kind of a nurturing environment, because sometimes like that first drive by themselves in the car, it's so stressful.
It is.
You have the precious cargo in the back, and so yeah,
it's amazing to have something where you can go and not feel like you're inconveniencing everyone with your children. Because that was the one thing when I was a new mom, I was like, I'm sorry, my baby's crying. Like, I would apologize for things that babies do. That's just the norm. And so it's really important that moms have somewhere where they're not going to feel like they're inconveniencing people. I remember, when I was pregnant, even I got morning sickness all day long, every day through the entire pregnancy. All 3 of my kids lasted forever. And I remember feeling like I'm going to get in trouble for throwing up wherever I am. Like they're going to yell at me. One day I was in a parking lot and I threw up in a parking lot, and I was like, I'm going to get in trouble. And I just remember being like, I wish I was around people who understood and I didn't have to feel bad. So I'm glad that the Motherhood Center exists, and that, other parents can be in an environment where they don't feel like they are out of place. So I love that. I love that so much.
I'm passionate. I'm a now Texan, Houstonian Texan. I just love the community here, and any way I can kind of give back, because when I was growing the Motherhood Center, I just felt so supported by the community, and kind of encouraged, and so I'm very grateful to Houston community, and so whatever way I can kind of give back, and we do as a Motherhood Center, we participate in so many kind of a community events, and supporting our clients whenever they reach out to us about their kind of causes, and of course just kind of learning about the Motherhood Center. If I can have a ask, because we do hear that so much, just like you, Ashley, you just didn't know about the Motherhood Center, and so often we do hear clients, they have a 1-year-old or 5-month-old, like, why nobody told me while I was pregnant, because I would totally be coming to the Motherhood Center and utilizing the services. So anyway, kind of helping to spread the word about the great work our team is really doing here, because it's definitely not just me. I do have a great team of educators, instructors, therapists. So we just love what we do, and so we are kind of in the heart of Houston. We are in the River Oaks area of Timmins and West Alabama. The website is motherhoodcenter.com, and of course we are active on all the social media, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, LinkedIn, and and we are just literally a phone call away. We are open 7 days a week, so clients, working, non-working moms can come here. We have actually even one of our clients, she's been coming for massages for the last 15 years from the time when she was pregnant. So you don't have to be preggo to come to the Motherhood Center.
Okay.
But we would, love to see any of your audience, any of your listeners reach out to us with really any questions they might have.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And I will be sure to plug all of your information into our show notes, so it'll be easily clickable for our audience. They can just find you immediately. So this is great. Thank you so much for sharing with us today.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you to your organization as well for all you do. So definitely helping kind of support the environment of the village.
It was so great chatting with Gabriela. She has so much information. And like I mentioned, we have all of their links and everything in our show notes. So if you're interested in joining the Motherhood Center for any of their events, or any of the resources and things that they offer, it'll all be there for you.
Great conversation.
Right. Yes, she was amazing. Oh my gosh, she was so lovely. Let's jump into our caffeinated confessions. Oh boy, I have one that's pretty interesting, but you go first. Tell me what your confession.
No, you go. Because I went last week, so go ahead.
Okay, so funny story. In college, I dated a guy who believed that women do not have gas.
You mean like farts?
Yes, like women are never gassy. And so I warned him, I was like, listen, I'm real gassy today. I'm just letting you know. He thought that it'd be funny to like tickle me and like just be real silly. So listen, okay, a tiny fart snuck out and this boy, I'm gonna call him boy because it was so childish. He was so upset about it, like left my apartment and like stormed off. We didn't like break up or anything, but like left over this. So now I'm realizing down the line that I was like traumatized by that. So I look back and like, I realized I have never passed gas around any guy ever since then, except my husband, because when we were married, I was pregnant 3 times. Now listen,
I was going to say, did you avoid that during pregnancy?
I did not.
I was like, wait a minute, tell me what you did.
Nope. No. No, at that point, I'm like, listen, I'm carrying your baby. You're going to deal with this. Like, too bad. But then fast forward to now, I have been dating my boyfriend for 1.5 years now. And he turned to me one day and he goes, do you fart? I about died. I was laughing so hard. I was like, first of all, let me set this up with, we were talking about something totally different. Then there was a lull in the conversation. We started watching a show and he just looks over at me and is like, do you fart?
He's like, she seems normal, but it had probably bothered him for like a while, right? He was
like, what's going on in your stomach that you just don't? And I was like, I'm just not comfortable. He's like, so you just never do it in front of me ever? And I was like, never. And I still haven't. And it's not like a conscious effort, like, oh, I need to get away or something. I don't know what it is, but I don't.
Wow.
Oh my God. So that's my confession, is that my boyfriend of 1.5 years has never heard me fart. And he is like, what is the deal? I was like, never, like in my sleep or anything. He's like, not that I've ever heard. I'm like, well.
Wow.
And I feel like I was like traumatized from that first guy. I was like, maybe all guys expect girls. I don't know why I let this fool really like convince me that it was just wrong. I was like, sir, we have like insides too. Why would you think that you think our insides are so different from yours that we just don't fart? What?
So you don't get gassy? It doesn't hurt or anything like that?
No.
When I hold mines, like I could be uncomfortable for, like, it's a punishment, really, because I could be uncomfortable for days later. Like 1 or 2 hold-ins will like make me just like, I can't even function for the rest of the week.
So far, I've never experienced anything where it's like I'm holding it and now I feel uncomfortable. Like, I don't know, I'll get away from him or like, oh, I need to go to the bathroom, whatever. That's fine. Right. But like, I don't think I consciously hold anything in, and I don't have any discomfort. So I don't know. I feel like my insides just know, like, oh, no, he's around. I'm not going to do it.
He's around, yeah. That's a great story.
I really had to think about, do I even want to share this? Like, can we say fart?
That's a great story. Like, when you said gas, I was like, you don't mean farting, do you?
What kills me is I even told him, I was like, I'm feeling kind of gassy today. Like, I mean, leave me alone. I'm like, what triggered in your brain? Like, let me tickle her and then get mad at me. Like, bro, bye.
Yeah, you are right to call him a boy. You are right to call him a boy.
That is so childish. So childish.
That is not
so
cool.
stupid. Like, I would, and now, like, looking at it, I'm like, yeah, I would never, no matter what kind of relationship I'm in, I'm never gonna like walk up to you and like, you know how goofy men can be sometimes. Like, they'll just come like fart in your face or something. Like, why would you? That's not funny. Like, I would never do anything like that. But I'm like, to think that we never. What? So stupid.
Like, it's almost as if he doesn't understand like where gas comes from. Like, it comes from the breakdown of food.
Right. I'm like, did you see me eat? We ate together. Well, you're gassy. Why can't I be? It's crazy. It's crazy. It's still every now and then just, do you fart? Pops into my head.
I know. That's that's gonna ring ahead. That's gonna ring in my head.
It's so funny.
Because he was probably was thinking to himself, or he is super cool, but there is something. She has never farted in front of me. Like, what is going on? And he's probably thinking, like, the guy didn't think, like, we eat the same food. I know how I feel. What is going on with her insides that this doesn't happen?
I love it. It was so funny.
Perfect. That is perfect.
If I marry this man, like this, it will like outlive us. That joke, it will be forever. Just, do you fart?
Is great. That is
the way he
great.
said it was like concern and confusion.
Yeah, that's
and
what
like,
I mean. That's what I mean. This has bothered him, and he finally just had to come out with it.
Right.
Like, I need to know.
I love it.
Like, I need to know.
Oh my gosh. Oh, it was so funny.
That's a great confession. That is a fantastic. That's about the best whatever, Ashley. I'm serious.
It is so funny. So glad I shared.
Thank you. Excellent. But now you know what not to do. Now you know what your boys do not like project on another person. Like, that's so terrible.
Right?
That is so terrible.
Yes. Yep.
Boys, don't do this, boys.
Right. Don't ever make her feel bad.
For natural human bodily functions.
Seriously. Ridiculous. Okay, what's your confession?
Oh my goodness. So it's not nearly as fantastic as that, but in fact, so I was talking today to a coworker, and we were talking about names. And so my confession is that my daughter, I had a name for my daughter up until like the last couple of days before she was born, but my husband really didn't like the name. So my sister was coming in, and so he had to come up. I accepted the fact, like, I can't name our daughter something he doesn't fundamentally.
Yeah.
So we sat up really late, picked the name. She was born 2 days later, and then she ended up being in the NICU, which I've said before. So I was still in the hospital for about 5 days because I had some postpartum high blood pressure going on. So I got to stay in a little bit longer. And so I was like, they were easily accessible to me. But like a day or two after that, so we're like on day 7, day 8, maybe, I called to check on them in the NICU, and I forgot my daughter's name.
Yeah.
Like, when I say I forgot her name, Ashley, like, I called and I said, I'm calling to check on my son. I gave his name, and then I said my daughter, and then her name went blank, like a blank piece of paper. I just could not. And I don't know if I'm ever going to tell her this story because I was so But then I'm just so frustrated because I'm like, during the day on NICU, I'm just giving birth. They told me I have high blood pressure. Like I was trying to pump. It was just so much going on.
It doesn't even count as you messing up at all. That is like mommy brain and all the things that you're dealing with. That doesn't even count. That doesn't count. You should tell her that story. You should tell her that story so she understands the toll it took on you bringing them into the world. See?
That's what the coworker said. She's like, that doesn't even count, Tiffany. Like you were just giving birth. Like you could forget things. I was like, but it was my daughter. Like when I tell you, I couldn't even remember the first letter of her name. I was like, my daughter.
Wait, how did you remember? How did you remember?
Like, I hung up because I was so freaking frustrated. I was like, just my daughter. And then I guess like a couple minutes later, I just kind of I remembered.
Yeah.
But when I tell you in that moment, and it was like dead. And this is like some of the jerk stuff that sometimes people do to mothers. Mm-hmm. They don't just look at the list and like help you out. She just like stood there and waited, and I was just it created so much. Oh, it was so awful.
Yeah. Yep. They do that sometimes. They like don't give us grace. Like, you could help me.
You can help me in this moment. Ma'am, I'm
confused.
Yes, I'm confused.
Oh, that's awful.
So we had my son's name for a couple of weeks because my requirement was that we had his name like by the end of July. They were in August, but we had literally just named her.
Yeah.
Before that. And I loved her name. So again, I love my daughter's name. So this is an indication that I didn't love her name. I loved her name, but I guess like one too many names.
Oh my gosh. Yep. Oh gosh. You have 100% of an excuse. 100% excused. I remember one time I was like calling my children, and you start sometimes when you have multiples, you go down the list, you might yell out a dog's name. You just with the face and the hair.
With
Come
the
here.
face, right.
And I was like, hey, Reeve. And I remember one of my kids being like, do you even know our names? I'm like, yeah, I know your name. Had a moment. Y'all were messing with me and I was trying to focus. Yes. Like, what do you mean? Yes, I know your name. Do you even know?
You even know our names?
Oh my gosh.
I named you.
Right. Well, that doesn't, you should never feel bad about that. Based on all the things you had going on and you were a week into motherhood, that doesn't count.
Oh, yes. Oh, gosh. But that's my confession.
Well, so that's mothers out there, it's very relatable. It is very relatable. Like, yes.
If it happens to you, it's like, I can't. Her name. I knew it was the girl. I knew who I was asking about, but I could see her face.
Yep.
It's like
you knew who you were talking about.
The name. I don't know her name.
Oh my gosh, I love it. That's a good one. Very relatable, y'all. You heard it. It is. It happens to the best of us. It's okay.
It happens to the best of us.
It is okay. Yes. All right, let's jump into our house blend. What on the Houston Moms site do you recommend our listeners check out?
So I'm going to do some self-promotion in this sense because this actually is very applicable. There's a new Consequences of Pregnancy blog out there. Yeah. It's called The Duality of Motherhood. It's very relatable to this topic because I just talk about, how you can love being a mother. And then there's those moments where you're just like, what is going on? Like, I tell this story about how I just wanted 5 minutes or 10 minutes to myself to get dressed, and like they couldn't even give that to me. And you you feel like you want to snap inside or on them in some cases, like you were saying. But then like at the end of it, you're just like, you're so thankful for these little people. Like they are the most wonderful thing in your life, and I love my children, just absolutely love them to death. But man, when they take up a lot of space, oh my gosh, when they take, like, going back to our episode about the don't touch me. Like my daughter she was like this morning, she was just like, I'm gonna call you my warm and snuggly. Can I do that? And I was like, sure can.
Like, all right, yeah.
She was like, I'm still gonna call you mom and mommy, but when I get into bed with you, can I just call you warm and snuggly?
Oh,
like, absolutely, absolutely.
I love it. Yes, that is. I was actually going to recommend that post as well. It's hard, and a lot of people will make you feel like, and these are the people that you do not need in your village. A lot of people make you feel like you need to always be enjoying this. It needs to be like your life's calling all the time. There are days where it's like, it'd be kind of nice if I didn't have these responsibilities. I could, I look around at our house and I'm like, if it were just me, I wouldn't have this house. I would live in like a cool, trendy apartment in the city. We wouldn't need a yard. We wouldn't need all this. And like, I look at all our pets and I'm like, we wouldn't have all these dang pets.
Yes.
There are little moments where I'm like, it would be kind of nice doing this just solo and not having to deal with. But then you look at them and you're like, I'm so thankful you're here. There are days I remind myself, like, girl, you asked for this. You asked God.
Exactly.
I want sons. I want multiple. I want this so bad. It's like, you can't really get mad because you begged for this.
I did. And I did too.
Yep.
I did too. And and they are, and like my daughter is just always the questions. My son, he is so like the ideas. Oh my gosh. If he tells me another idea of his.
You need to get him an ideas journal.
I should.
Like, write all your ideas and then present one a week to me, your favorite one.
That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. For their birthdays, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Because I was thinking about that. I was like, my daughter needs a journal. Excuse me. And he needs something like that, like an ideas journal.
Yeah. It's amazing I keep coming up with these great ideas that I struggle with implementing. So I just pass them on to other people. But I'm noticing that my kids need journals. And I'm like, because there are so many things they want to tell me. And I'm like, I don't have the bandwidth right now to hear all the things. Let's write it down so you don't forget. And I'd love to hear it when I can actually hear you.
Yes.
So yeah. I love it. Well, perfect. Well, my house blend this week is 5 simple cleaning tips for busy moms. I love this post just because I love when posts break things down for you real simple. Like we all know these things. Like, hey, have your kids help. Hey, have a schedule. We know these things, but I like to see it in a quick post and be like, oh yeah. Like, I remember now. I remember the things I need to do so I can stop like pulling my hair out, trying to keep the house clean. Like I'm exhausted. So it is just a quick reminder of just easy steps you can do to make sure that your house isn't falling apart.
Yes.
So I love that. It's very much appreciated because I needed the reminder. And I feel like sometimes we forget that it is possible to make things simpler. Sometimes I feel like I get in a rut where I just make stuff harder. I don't know why, but sometimes I make tasks way more difficult than they need to be.
Here. That would be me too.
Yes. All right. So let's go ahead and wrap up with a see you later, caffeinator. And I just got this quote. It's from Unknown, but I thought it was so perfect when you think about your village. It says, in the grand story of raising a child, every neighbor becomes a chapter, every friend a page, and every stranger a footnote in the tale of their upbringing. And I loved that. And that's why it's so important to choose your village wisely, to choose a diverse village. If you can, give your kids, people who are going to help them write the story of their lives, that are going to add a little bit of flavor and color and fun and difference into the story of their lives. And, they are influenced by so much. And I'd rather them being influenced by this village that I've created versus YouTube or Disney Channel or whatever. Yeah. I love that their village is so prominent to them that they are more so influenced by that than anything else. So I just thought it was a great reminder, and I loved that quote. Yeah.
I love that too.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to the Cold Coffee Club. As always, we can't wait to see you next week.
You've been listening to the Cold Coffee Club. brought to you by Houston Moms. We wish you a fabulous week with your families and look forward to sharing many more cups of cold coffee with you.